All right, folks, there's been some chatter on the internet, especially among the prophecy sites and blogs regarding this Comet 21P Giacobini-Zinner. Kind of interesting comet, really just discovered earlier, actually back around 1900. And this comet has kind of an interesting characteristic about it is that it's usually unseen, but there are times when it is seen. And there are times when it's getting close to its perihelion, or its, I should say, near sun orbit, where it will explode to increase in brightness by as much as 16 times brighter. So this comet's going to come around here next September. It's going to fall on a very important date, and so we're just going to kind of watch it. But I thought it'd be kind of fun just to throw in with everybody and see what we come up with. And I'm just going to narrate this. It's not going to have a lot of fanfare or music or anything. It's just going to be me talking and putting raw facts out there, and you decide. So here we go. Reaches maximum magnitude 420 through 27, 1900 AD, Pisces, that's constellation Pisces. The exact place on the day of preparation on 4/23/33 AD. In other words, this is one day before Passover, which is the day of preparation for the feasts to come up. So I think it's kind of interesting. The sun is in the exact spot in that place when this comet itself reaches maximum magnitude. Again, maximum magnitude 821 through 28, 1906 AD. It's in the constellation Capricorn, and at a spot, or the same spot for the lunar eclipse, of 8718. So it's going to actually do its transition. You see this line down here. So put this in here. You can kind of see this line. The comet's going to move this way over the next during that 821 to 7-day period, and the lunar eclipse was actually seen right here in this area right here. So this gives us a midway point for the comet at that time. So it's highlighting the area where the lunar eclipse of 8718 took place. Let's erase this here. Again, maximum magnitude 10.12. It's 614 through 20, 1913 AD. And we find ourselves in a unique spot again where we are at the exact spot where you have a transition. It's going to transition from here to here, from this heel to here. And this spot right here is the place where the vernal equinox of 1730 BC was at. That's actually the time of Jacob, when Israel's actually starting to form as a nation. Maximum magnitude 10.18, magnitude that is 113 through 29, 1920. Just right, you see it's transitioning where it's actually is transitioning from here to here during that, what is that, a 7-day period. So that's its transition point. It's actually in the constellation of Aquarius. Maximum magnitude 8.68 on 8/10 through 14, 1926. Again, we're going to see its transition period from this point to this point. At that time, that's its movement that's taken place over that period of time where it's at its brightest point. And this can get more and more interesting as we go on. Again, maximum magnitude 10.64, 39 through 15, passes through the exact spot in when the vernal equinox of, the vernal equinox of 2017 takes place. This is actually 1933, actually the beginning of World War II, basically. And here's the transition point from here to here. It takes place from 3/9 through 1933 AD. And this right here is the exact spot where the vernal equinox, this spot right here, this line marks it, the exact spot where the vernal equinox of 2017 takes place. At a magnitude of 6.50, that's actually the maximum magnitude, 6.50, the comet is seen with the naked eye for the first time since its discovery. You know anything about stars, you know how the magnitude ratings take place, and 6.50 is basically naked eye visibility. Very faint, but you can see it. Think of magnitude for stars kind of like a shotgun shell. The smaller the number, the bigger the shell. So the smaller the number, the bigger the magnification for the star. So here we are at 6.50, getting within the realm of visibility. And this is kind of an interesting setup here that we have taking place. So just kind of watch this. I'm talking about a constellation called Eridanus. It was known as the heavenly river of fire. There's a quotation here from Typhon to Zeus. I will drag down from heaven the fiery Eridanus, whose course is among the stars, and bring him back to a new home in the Celtic land, and he shall be water again, and the sky shall be bare of its river of fire. This is actually a quote out of 500 AD. So Eridanus was known as the river of fire. It was actually the heavenly river of fire in the heavens. It's going to play an important role here when we look at a little animation that we see take place here. All right, folks, this one's kind of interesting. It's going to be an animation that takes place. We're going to see the comet go into the head of the dragon and go into the foot. And it's going to come up out of the foot and go into the hand of the person who's got his foot on the head of the dragon. And once it gets into the hand, the comet's going to become pretty bright. It's going to be visible with the naked eye for several days after that. And then it's going to disappear into what's known as the end of the river, or that river Eridanus that we know is the heavenly river of fire. So it's kind of like a great little animation that we have actually going. So let's get this going. We'll try again. Into the foot. It's getting brighter. It is now naked eye visible. It's being tossed across the heavens into the river of fire, where it disappears from view altogether. Maximum magnitude 10.55 for, that's actually 5/4/1946. That's May 4th, 1946, for 7 days, as it marks the spots of the vernal equinox of 1 BC. We have the vernal equinox marked by the star. Here we are again, maximum magnitude 9.26. Basically, December 12/3 through 6. This is 1952, is it? Yeah, 1952 AD marks out the area of the lunar eclipse of 8/7/17. So it's actually looking at the area of the lunar eclipse of 8/17. In fact, here's where its transition period's at. It stops right here, the exact spot where the lunar eclipse actually kind of showed up right here in this area right through here, but it is marking out that spot. So maximum magnitude 9.89, 6/28 through 7/4/1959. Approaching the Pleiades, starting from location of the vernal equinox of 1730 BC. So it's literally going to be doing its transition from this point here all the way to just underneath the Pleiades in 1959. This is actually 6 28 through 7/4, 1959. Maximum magnitude 10.35, 1/27 through 30. That's actually January 27th through the 30th, 1966. We're going to see it doing a transition from this point here to here. This is where it's at its maximum brightness, as it moves right through here, through this area, and ends right here. Landing on the exact spot where the line for the constellation of Aquarius, as Aquarius is pouring its water out, is at. Here we are. Its maximum magnitude is 8.03. It's basically 8/24 through 28, 1972, August 24th through 28th, 1972. And it's got this transition point where its maximum brightness starts at this point, continues to be the same brightness all the way it gets to the point right here, what's called the heel with the reins holder. We're going to look at this guy here in the Greek a little bit and have a really interesting presentation. He's actually known as the chariot driver. This is interesting. It says we marked the vernal equinox again. This is actually a vernal equinox of 1976. So it's 3/21, 1976. 2 days later, it hits maximum magnitude of 10.66. Note that is off by perfection by only 0.6 of 1 degree at meridian from the Great Pyramid of Egypt. Maximum magnitude 6.93, almost naked eye visibility. 10/26 through 29, 1995. Got a transition that goes through from here to here. Okay, so it's actually highlighting itself through its magnitude right here. But interesting is that you actually have, I believe this is Jupiter, is marking the area in here where the lunar eclipse of 12/7/2017 took place. Now things get really interesting. Thing's been kind of doing some things in the background back there in 1939, I think it was. It had that little animation where it basically imitated, throwing the head of the dragon or the dragon itself into the lake of fire or the river of fire. Now it gets kind of interesting here because it's going to look at it's going to present some things that we're more familiar with and we've seen. This is 5/18/1992. On its first day of max magnitude of 10.5, the entire period from Jacob to the end of the Old Testament in 400 BC is marked out. Venus is marking the vernal equinox of 1730 BC. So here's Venus right here. Okay, the vernal equinox actually literally rose up right through here. Okay, so it's marking the area of the vernal equinox of 1730 BC, the beginning of basically the nation of Israel itself with Jacob. And the comet itself, right here, is actually sitting right in here. It's marking the exact spots of the vernal equinox of 400 BC. And of course, we know we had the vernal equinox of 1 BC right here. So this area right here marks the intertestamental period. And so it's really kind of fascinating to watch how this actually works with this sitting right here, and with the comet sitting in the exact, shall we say, position where the vernal equinox would be rising up in 400 BC. So, but it's more than just that. Let's just kind of go on. Let's just keep going here. Maximum magnitude 9.63 for a little more than 1 day. It sits next to the star called the third one, or the lucky one, or the lucky ones who drink. This is in 1998. This is on 12/16. It's actually circling this star right through here. This is actually 1998 on 12/16. And this little tiny star right that you see right here, that little tiny star right there is a star that's actually called the star, or the third star of the lucky ones who drink. This is pretty easy. And here we are with the Pleiades. It does a transition over about a 6-day period where it starts here. This is the middle point of it, and it continues right through here. This is the Pleiades. All right, it's the first time ever in recorded history that this particular comet has transitioned over the Pleiades at its maximum magnification. Maximum magnification is 9.61. It passes right over the Pleiades for the first time ever recorded. Year is 2005. It's July 14th. Okay, here we have maximum magnitude 10.47 on 2/11/2012. This is really interesting. There's a lot of stuff going on here. We can see right here. We're going to have to go to other parts of the sky to look at it as well. Let's have a look, okay? The Sun, Moon, and Mercury are in the star group called the Fortress of the Lucky Ones. Uranus is rising in the spot of the vernal equinox of 2017 as the equinox begins to leave the constellation of the Church, that is Pisces. A few days prior, Venus and Uranus conjoined in the same spot. Jupiter is marking the vernal equinox of 1730 BC. Saturn is marking the position of the first sighting of the new moon on 9/22/17 on the Feast of Trumpets. There you can see your new moon. So you can see that Saturn is marking that position. This is kind of a unique position for it. It's actually the comet is right here in that position there, and it's in the constellation that is known as the Chariot Driver. And what's interesting about this day is this is actually the first day of the Feast of Trumpets on 2018. It's actually 9/11. You can see the date down here. It's 9/11. And so you see the date. And it's the first day of the Feast of Trumpets. And what's interesting about this is that this is a kind of a rare presentation, because I can see right here, even though it's out of visibility at 7.04, it's the first time, at least in recorded history, where it only has 1 day of maximum magnitude. And what is interesting is that it's going to be incredibly close to the Earth at the time. And so we don't know what the effect of that gravitational effect is going to be on that, or how that's going to work out. But if you remember early on, we were told that every now and then, when it reaches its close orbit to the sun, every now and then it'll explode in brightness, up to 16 times brighter. So we'll just watch and see what happens. But it is interesting is that as we pass through the tail of this comet around October 7th or 8th or 9th, I can't remember what it is, quite possible that it's going to provide quite a meteor shower and be marking the end of the Jewish high holy days with that. So we'll just watch, folks. We're just going to watch and pray and see what the Lord does with this. All right, folks, here it is in the Greek presentation. This particular constellation right here is the same exact one. You can see the comet right there. And what's interesting is that comet will actually come from this star all the way down to this point, and it'll be sitting here on 9/11/2017. In the Greek presentation, the same chariot driver is depicted as an individual with his lambs. And if you understand the folklore behind it all, he's a chariot king driver. He's actually a king chariot driver who was whipping his lambs away to safety in the heavens. So the question people are going to ask is, am I setting a date? And I guess you could kind of say, yes, I am setting a date. This is the Feast of Trumpets 2018. And the Lord has once again put a sign in the heavens for us to at least be paying attention not only to what he has laid out for us in the signs in the heavens, but also for the feasts day. If you've read my book, you'll understand that my book goes to show that the Lord fulfills his redemptive promises on the feast day, just like he did in the first coming. He's going to do the same with regard to the second coming. So we actually have a sign in the heavens pointing to a particular feast day that it's at least telling us to watch and to be paying attention. Now, am I saying the rapture is going to happen that day? I don't know. I personally don't think it's going to actually happen that day. However, I am to watch and pray that I be counted worthy. And I do believe that the Lord has actually told us that the rapture will happen on the Feast of Trumpets. Whether it'll be this year or sometime here in the near future, I don't know. But I do think we are in the time when we are actually supposed to be diligently watching and getting our lives in order and ready to go. So here's I'll show you a couple of videos, or not a couple of videos, a couple of links here. For more on this comment, you can go and look at these links here. Anyway, God bless and have a good day.